Hi, it's Saturday, May 21st, 2016. I want to talk about Saudi Arabia again today. I made a video about a month ago about Saudi Arabia, and there was a huge story about them saying they might sell their U.S. Treasury reserves, supposed to be $700 billion. But today, actually, I want to talk about oil and oil production in Saudi Arabia, mainly because there's a story out this week, and I quote now, this is from Bloomberg, and I put the link below as usual. It says, Saudi Arabia considers paying contractors with IOUs. And it's just strange because such a wealthy country, and I think they've got more than $1 trillion in reserves. You know, they've been pumping oil for generations now, and yeah, they're very, very wealthy. I just found it weird that they're thinking about paying contractors with IOUs. That's happened, I think, in the state of California before, but the state of California is in huge debt at the time. Saudi Arabia isn't. It's just very strange. And so I've decided to look at the numbers, and it's all public information online. I'll put all the links below. And I've looked at Saudi oil production in the last 11 years, and I've extrapolated the production for 2016. So it's from 2006 to 2016, so 11 years total. And I've taken from OPEC as well the average oil price each year, and I also looked at that the average production of oil in Saudi Arabia is roughly 9 million barrels per day since that time. It has been less than 9 and more than 10, so I've taken 9 as a rough estimate. This is not a precise study, but it's pretty close. And I've also taken an article from the middle of April from the Wall Street Journal, and it talks about cost of production of a barrel of oil. And Saudi Arabia has the lowest cost of production of any of the major producing countries at $8.98 per barrel. So I used all those numbers, and you know, I've come up that the net profit of Saudi Arabia the last 11 years, if you subtract the cost of extracting a barrel of oil over there, to $2.5 trillion. So, and that's just the last 11 years, 2,503 billion. That's what Saudi Arabia should have made if you look at these numbers. And the other thing I looked at is government spending in Saudi Arabia, and I found that online as well. And it, from tradingeconomics.com, and I'll put the links below. So from 2008 to 2015, the Saudi government on average spent 132.29 billion Saudi rial, and $1 is 3.75 rial, and that's fixed. It's a fixed rate. So the average government spending in Saudi Arabia is roughly $35 billion per year, and I multiplied that by 11 for those 11 years, and I came up with $388 billion. And then I took the net revenues of $2.5 trillion, and I came up with basically 2.1 trillion in basically free money or net profits that Saudi government should have made over these last 11 years. And that's taking the average price of a barrel of oil at $29.96 for 2016. And that might even go up more. So it's just really, really strange that, Saudi Arabia, there's talk now that they're going to pay contractors with IOUs, that they're delaying payment, when they're making trillions just in the last 11 years. And I know that in Saudi Arabia, there's the oil company, Saudi Aramco. And one might say, oh, the government, that's Saudi Aramco's revenue. But I've looked at the Saudi Aramco Wikipedia page, and it says that Saudi Arabian government owns 100% of Saudi Aramco. So I just find it amazing that they're running out of money. How can that be? And I know the price of oil was a lot lower, back in the 20th century until the year 2000. But since 1973, according to the data I've looked at, Saudi Arabia has produced basically 7.96 million barrels of oil per day. So that's for like 43 years. So I just find it really strange. And there's a lot of talk on the internet, mainstream, and also, the alternative internet media, that there's a lot going on. You have major foreign officials going to Saudi Arabia, the Chinese trying to get in with Saudi Arabia, all this talk that the US might freeze their assets. And now, this talk about Saudi Arabian government needing to pay people with IOUs when they're making so much money. And I know the price of oil has come down. I talked about that the average government spending in Saudi Arabia is around $35 billion. So I'll give you an example. With the price of oil at $29.96 for 2016, even when you take the cost of a barrel out, Saudi Arabia is supposed to make about almost 69 billion, this year, which should give them a surplus if they're spending on average 35 billion. Even if they're spending more, even if they spend $50 billion, the government, they still should have a surplus of 19 billion. So why is this happening? I don't know. You might know more than I do. But I just think that something is not right here. And one thing that I thought that might be the reason is this book. And this was written in 2005 by Matthew Simmons. Unfortunately, he died in 2010. And the book is called Twilight in the Desert. Matthew Simmons, I read you his background. It says here, Matthew Simmons, so this is at the time, is chairman and chief executive officer of Simmons & Company International, a Houston-based investment bank that specializes in the energy industry. Mr. Simmons serves on the boards of Brown-Forman Corporation and the Atlantic Council of the United States. He's also a member of the National Petroleum Council and a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, or the CFR. He has an MBA from Harvard University. So basically in this book, Twilight in the Desert, Matthew Simmons, his theory is, and it's full of data here, a lot of study. It's not just like written and he just doesn't say things for the hell of it. Basically, he's saying that the Saudis, their oil wells don't have as much oil as they say they do. And he also says that they haven't found too many new discoveries in the last 25 years, and that all their major oil wells are becoming, aged. And he argues that they don't have as much oil, as the Saudi government, publicizes to have. I do have to say I have listened to some other videos of Matthew Simmons today, and there are things that he said that hasn't happened, but there's just something that doesn't add up. And will he be proven right, Matthew Simmons, that there is actually peak oil? I know that in the last few years, and Lately, all you hear about is the glut of oil, but I don't know. Why is Saudi Arabia in such trouble that they have to issue, they're thinking about issuing IOUs to contractors, the Saudi government, when they've made over $2 trillion net in the last 11 years. So yeah, something doesn't smell right, in my opinion. I'm not sure what it is. So we'll have to see, just keep an eye on the developments in the Middle East, especially Saudi Arabia. So if you do like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. And also share it with friends if you like, what I talk about. And thanks for listening, and have a good weekend. Take care.